All right, we are back and hopefully better. We are back and hopefully better than before. I don't know. Um Hopefully it stays better, but we are back. Okay. We are going to skip ahead to um Bailey Hawkins, who is a longtime friend of Megan's. So we will skip right ahead to that. So we
Bailey, how are
watched
you doing?
we've seen some crime scene photos, we've seen um some interview with Megan Boswell. We've heard about the events that have taken place, the long time of the lies and the where is Evelyn and what happened to Evelyn and this happened and someone took her and then all these things, right? We've heard all of the lies and the stories leading up. So let's everything is today. So let's now hear some firsthand experience with who Megan is as a person. We might do a little skipping, jumping around here just for time. It's almost 3 o'clock. I can't believe that.
How are you today?
I'm here.
Can you tell us your name?
Bailey Hawkins,
Okay. Can you tell us where you live? What city do you live in?
Boswell, Tennessee.
How long have you lived in Tennessee?
I moved to Tennessee in 5th grade, so about a little over 10 years.
Okay. And when you moved to Tennessee, what school did you go to?
I went to Dalton Elementary School.
Okay. And do you know the defendant, Megan Boswell?
Yes.
How do you know her?
If it is too fast, please let me know. I put it at 1.5. I wish she would just speak up a little bit.
We went to school together when I moved to Tennessee. She was like basically the first friend that I made in elementary school.
Okay. So would that have been around 5th grade?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you maintain that friendship from 5th grade on?
Yeah, we pretty much stayed in contact because we had like classes together and everything, and we're in school together. She moved around a lot, so we would fall in and out of contact here and there, but we pretty much stayed friends the entire time.
Okay. Do you recall when Megan was pregnant with Evelyn?
Yes.
Were you still friends during that time?
She invited me over to Evelyn's baby shower, so we were friends, and then she invited me to her baby shower.
Okay. And were you able to go to the baby shower?
No.
Okay. Did you continue to maintain that friendship after Evelyn was born?
Yeah, that's pretty much when we became in contact more and started like seeing each other more.
Okay. Can you tell us when you say seeing each other more, how often do you think you were seeing Megan and Evelyn?
It was pretty regularly. I'd say once or twice a week, probably.
Okay. And when you saw Megan, would you always have Evelyn with her?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever, and I'm going to give you a time frame from Thanksgiving of 2019. Prior to that time, did you ever see Megan without Evelyn?
No.
Okay. Did you ever know for Megan to leave Evelyn with anyone else before Thanksgiving of 2019?
Every now and again, she'd talk about leaving her with her grandma, but every time we hung out, she would always have Evelyn.
Okay. And do you remember the last time that you saw Evelyn yourself in person?
I can't remember exact dates because we hung out so often, but the last time that I recall is when we went to Speedway and Lights.
Okay. And did Evelyn go with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Little bit of a sidebar. The judge gets up for sidebars and they walk over as far away from oh my gosh, the witness as possible. Oh my gosh, what are words? What are words? words are hard, okay?
I went until 10 and I went in at 6. Hunter called me and was like, "Do you want me to come in? I'm here." And I was like, "Sure." I'm going to the shack at 4:30 in the morning to help him open. I've not had a male friend I've actually enjoyed just like hanging out with in so long.
Okay. And has she indicated to you that during all these hours that she's working that her grandmother is keeping Evelyn?
No.
Okay. Okay. So when you say that so early, does Megan respond to you?
So even if he does attempt to hit on me, sometimes I brush it off. It's fine. I'm just so genuinely content. I literally don't even mind. That's when he's going to get there. Is that bad?
Okay. And then you say, let's hope he gets the hint. What did you mean by that at that point?
I guess,
If you know.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. What did she say in response to you?
Like, not even an, oh, I like him, content. I'm just content and happy around him. That sounds weird, but I am.
Okay. And then what do you say in response?
But if you don't mind and have someone watch Evelyn, then definitely go for it.
The same conversation still continuing, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at 10:57 p.m. now, is that right? Okay. Are you okay? Okay. And then what does Megan say?
I was so fucking cranky when I came in, I won't lie. And it was like I felt better immediately being around him. My grandma was like, you just want to date him. And I was like, no, woman.
Okay. And you responded to her that he seems like a nice Southern guy. And what did Megan say in response to you?
My grandma's keeping her overnight for two nights and all day. He's a pretty good guy. Like I said, I'm just so content around him.
Okay. And when you say that's good, how does Megan respond to you?
Like, I worked from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and came back at 7 to 9:30. I literally just didn't mind. I washed dishes and helped him clean for a little bit. And the only time I left was to go get him.
Okay. Last one for this. Actually, there's one more. When you tell her we all need good people to be around, what does she say in response to you?
Yeah, he just makes me happy. I don't know. I enjoy our friendship a lot.
And you respond, and then how does she respond to you?
I didn't even care though. It didn't feel that long.
And the last page of this conversation, starting about 10:59 p.m. What does Megan say to you at that time?
It's 11 and I have to go. I have to be back at work at 4:30 and I'm watching TikToks. I'll be there from 4:30 a.m. until like 8 at night or later.
Okay, and you said OMG, and how did she respond?
I don't even mind whatsoever.
Okay. At any time during that conversation, did she ever indicate that Evelyn was with her?
She said that Evelyn was with her grandma.
The state using this witness to prove that Megan was constantly pawning off her child to other people to take care of is what I'm surmising from just a little bit of this testimony.
I'm going to pass you another document for you to take a look at. Take your time.
Let's skedaddle a little bit.
Okay.
Being at 11 and coming back at 12, so come by before then.
Okay. And you said okay, then what did she say?
JK, I'm leaving at 10:44, 45.
Is that you were going to go by and visit her? Is that what that conversation?
I guess.
Okay. I know some time has passed. I was just curious. Okay. So at 11:19 a.m., what does Megan say to you?
I'm back now. I left again, but I'm with Hunter.
Okay. The same day, around 5:30 p.m., what do you say to Megan?
What are you doing?
And what does she say?
Chilling with Hunter still?
Okay. So just quickly, I'm going to go back. Okay. So okay. And then what did she say at 7:21 p.m.?
I'm going to Hunter's house. Wish me luck.
Okay. And then same day, 11:30 p.m. What does Megan say to you?
I'm home now. I was over there for hours. Holy shit. We just talked. It was nice.
At any time during that conversation, did she mention that she had Evelyn with her? Did she mention where Evelyn was?
No.
The last thing I want to do right now is disturb my cat. I don't know why he's so chill. He's putting on an act for the internet. Because he's usually not this. This is... Hopefully he feels okay. It's just... Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about you. All right, we'll skip ahead a little bit.
Audrey?
Okay. And did you and Megan ride together?
Yeah, we both went together.
Okay. And was Evelyn with you?
No, she wasn't.
Okay. How was Megan acting that day?
Different speculation.
I'm not asking for speculation. I'm asking how Megan was behaving. Okay. What was her demeanor like?
It seemed kind of all over the place and like erratic. She kept repeating herself and kept saying that she loved us while we were there visiting Audrey.
Okay. Was that how she normally behaved?
No.
You consider that out of character?
Yeah.
Love bombing. When you notice your friend is acting out of character, do you bring it up? So if you're hanging out with someone, you hang out with them 2-3 times a week, you talk to them almost daily, they start acting strange. You're hanging out with them, they're getting in the car. Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. Oh, I love you guys. Oh man, I love you guys so much. And they just keep repeating. It's like, oh, yesterday, like yesterday was a crazy day. It was just like such a crazy day. Like yesterday was just such a crazy, like, do you bring up to that friend that you're seeing act different? Do you bring it up to them and say, hey, you okay? What's going on? Did something happen? Like, do we need to know about something? Like, you're not acting like yourself. Or do you just play it off to maybe they're just having an odd day, maybe they didn't get enough sleep, maybe they had too much coffee, maybe they drank a third Monster or Red Bull, maybe they're just sleepy. What do you do? How do you react? This witness is experiencing a lot of emotions right now, testifying against one of her closest friends. You can see her heart swallows. She's fidgeting. She's anxious. She also is probably feeling quite vulnerable when your text messages have been read. Your life, what you thought was private moments, not necessarily because of like the level of intimacy of them, but your private moments, your text messages, your things that you weren't saying out loud just directly to another person are being read in a court of law. There are cameras. This is being streamed. You are being seen by a lot of people. I can completely understand any sort of fidgety anxiety. She's doing some really hard swallows. Her eyes are closing for really long blinks. She is not looking at Megan. So I don't know how exactly she feels about this entire situation. We're kind of getting to some more in-depth things. We're getting to the moments where she is now being asked about the days that Megan had recently lost Evelyn. That Evelyn just started not showing up. Evelyn was not there anymore. So we're getting into some of the nitty gritty where some more emotions are going to come out.
Take a moment to look at it. And let me know, do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's text with me and Megan on December 23rd, 2019 at 4:44 p.m.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of your conversation with Megan on that date?
Yes.
Your Honor, we ask that be admitted as exhibit number 77.
Lots of exhibits.
23rd at 4:44 p.m. Where does Megan say that she is at?
I'm at Ethan's grandparents with him.
Okay, and then what do you say to Megan?
OMG, how's that? You with Evelyn? Are you with Evelyn?
Okay, so you're essentially asking her if Evelyn is with her. Okay, and what does she say?
Yes, and good.
Okay. And then jump to the bottom. You ask her a question at 4:45 p.m. What do you say to her?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
At 4:45 p.m., what do you say to Megan?
So please send pictures of Evelyn. I miss her.
And
This is so terrible. This is so heartbreaking. Just this one witness alone just tells me how many people loved and cared for Evelyn. and have not seen her. By Christmas time, they have not seen her. They are starting to worry. They are starting to ask questions. This poor girl, the pain that she must be going through. She loved Evelyn. You can just see it. She wasn't going. She asked the prosecutor to repeat her question. There was really no reason that she did not hear that question. The prosecutor was speaking in the same exact level. She was not more quiet than she was previously. She was preparing. Her brain wasn't hearing anything because in that moment she knew she had to read this text message, which set off the entire motion of where is Evelyn? Where is Evelyn? Where is Evelyn?
What does Megan say to you?
I will.
Did Megan send pictures of Evelyn that day?
No.
Bailey, do you need a minute?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, you poor thing. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Do you have water? Okay. There's tissues up there if you need them, okay?
Megan, where's your emotion? Oh my God, that's so incredibly heart-wrenching.
Bailey,
Let me just remind you that this also happened. These messages were sent in 2019, the end of 2019. So Christmas time, December 23rd, December 24th, 2019. It is currently this was last week. This day was last week. In 2025. 2025. It took that long for Megan to come even close to start seeing some repercussions, to get to this process going. This poor girl has lived the last 5 years feeling, listening, seeing news articles, having interviews, having her phone taken and gone through and questioned, and now she's having the moment. She's inside of the moment where she has to read the text messages. She is reliving this moment of pure fear of the only thing she knows how to ask, which is, where is Evelyn? She's asking that question, where is Evelyn? And all of the emotions that have come after, all the realizations, all of the knowledge, everything that has come after, she is experiencing right now. And that is absolutely traumatizing. Yes. Do people get re-traumatized when they testify? Yes. Yes, they do. Can it be a release to finally have your say on the stand? Sure. Right now, Bailey is feeling a lot. And I really hope this prosecutor is going to say, would you like us to take a break? Because Bailey looks like she was quite possibly one of the closest people to Megan and Evelyn. And she too was young. Like she, oh
Bailey,
my
you want to
God.
take a break, or do you think you can go on for a few minutes? We can do either one.
Okay, so the kindness in the room was very important. So we'll take a little break. The judge is stepping out. Bailey is stepping out. She has to do this in front of her friend who allowed her child to die and then did extremely disparaging things to that child after passing. That's what she had to do. That's what she has to do. And this is hard. This is pressing. This is disappointing. This is scary. And it is absolutely okay to show your emotion while you are testifying. You can't control it. I mean, for the most part, you can't control it. And it is so obvious when you are pushing. It is so obvious to a jury when you are attempting to be more sad and trying to squeeze out little droplets of tears. It is so telling. It's so easy for a jury to be like, "Ma'am, you're crying," but there's not a single tear inside of those eyes. Your face is not red, you know. We could see it welling up inside of Bailey. You know, her throat tightened, her nose became red, her eyes were just sort of here, her mouth was not. There's no controlling, you know, when you try to control your it's I know, I know, I know. I know that feeling too well, and as do a lot of the majority of people. This is but not a lot of people can fully sympathize with this very moment. Is so frustrating. So frustrating.
I'll pass you 2 pages. Just take a look at it and let me know if you recognize it.
Yes, I do recognize it.
Okay, can you tell us what it is?
Messages between me and Megan on January 9th, 2020 at 1:55 a.m.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of your conversation with Megan on that date?
Yes.
Okay. We'd like to offer that as exhibit number 78. Okay. So what question do you ask Megan on January 9th, 2020?
When was your court date with Evelyn? I know you said it was January.
And what does she say?
And tomorrow.
And then what do you say?
Where's Evelyn right now? Still with Ethan?
And what does Megan say?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you say in response?
Also, is Ethan not back doing Army things? I know a lot of people have left for Army stuff already. I just don't understand how he can have custody if he's literally going into the Army.
Okay. And then what does Megan say in response to that?
I don't know. It's retreated. I don't know what he is or isn't doing. He won't speak to me. I talked to him like once on New Year's.
Okay. Is she talking about Ethan?
Yes.
That's your document. Sorry. And ask if you recognize that.
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
Text message from Megan on January 20th, 2020 at 12:35 a.m.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of that text message that you received from Megan
Yes.
on that date?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 79. What is
Blowing rock, yeah. To Bowling Rock today.
the blowing rock?
Oh, yeah. Blowing rock, yeah.
Sorry to make you work. Okay.
She just said, "I'm sorry, making you work," to the bailiff. He's got a very important job of passing potential pieces of evidence from the podium for counsel to the witness, to the judge, to the court clerk. So a very important job and a lot of ups and downs physically. Let's see if we can get that a little further.
I'll fight Hunter if it's a girl because I want a little boy so bad.
And then what do you say in response?
A little boy would be nice because then you'd have both.
Oof. This is so messed up.
2:59 a.m.
Okay, is that a fair and accurate representation of your messages with Megan on that date?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd ask that be made exhibit number 81. Permission to publish. What do you ask Megan on January 29th, 2020?
Do you still have Evelyn?
And what is her response?
My grandma does right now because my mom's sick and stuff. I didn't want to bring her around.
Okay, and what do you say in response?
Will you have Evelyn with you? I really miss her little baby face. I bet she's grown so much since I haven't seen her in like a month.
And then what does Megan say?
Yes.
The lies. January
January 2020. Have you
Lie
seen
after
Evelyn
lie.
at all during the month of January?
No.
Did you see Evelyn at all during the month of December of 2019?
No.
How are you feeling at this point? In January 2020, how are you feeling?
Check the relevance.
She's like, not good. My little tiny niece, essentially, you know, a best friend child is, you know, you are their aunt.
I'm gonna ask in a different way, okay? You haven't seen Evelyn in about 2 months at this point. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you getting worried?
Yeah.
Tell me in your own words why you were getting worried.
Just everything was starting to add up, you know, not seeing the pictures, her being wishy-washy on having Evelyn, and then it just kind of, everything was starting to feel off.
Okay. You say no pictures. What do you mean by that? Were you seeing pictures before?
I mean, it was just she was posting pictures and everything, so you obviously see the pictures.
Okay. When you say she was posting pictures, where would you see pictures posted?
On Facebook.
Okay. Did that stop at some point?
I don't remember specifics, but I mean, during that time, I obviously didn't see anything.
Okay. Was she continuing to talk about Evelyn?
It seemed like the only time that we would talk about her is when I would ask.
Okay. Did you consider calling DCS?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you not call?
She was such a good friend to me that I didn't want to do that to her. Like,
Right.
I've gone through similar situations and I know how it affected me, and I didn't want to do that to her.
Oh my gosh.
Did you continue to try?
She's gone through similar situations and she knows how it affected her, and she did not want to do that to Megan. She did not want to cross that line. She was scared, she was fearful, she was uncomfortable with putting Megan in a position where she would then look around and say, who thinks I'm not a good mom? Who thinks I'm such a bad mom that Department of Child Services needs to be called on me? And it being your very close friend being the one who does that to you, friendship done. She would have lost a friend. But unfortunately, she not only lost a friend, Bailey not only lost a friend, but she lost her little niece, you know, her little tiny baby friend, Evelyn, who she loved very much so, and showed a lot of concern and worry when Megan was not showing up or talking, or, you know, here's me and Evelyn, she started acting weird. Evelyn was gone. I didn't see her anymore. I don't know where she is. She always had some random excuse as to where things were not making sense with the custody details. How was your court date? And questions were being ignored.
To try to press her about where Evelyn was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes?
Yeah.
What did she tell you?
There was always an answer. It was either with Ethan or Ethan's grandparents, or you know, there was always an answer.
Okay.
I hope Bailey has some
That's one more
support
document.
in her
Pages.
life. I hope she has someone that she can go to and, you know, get a nice big hug from after this. This is horrifyingly difficult.
2020 at 2:46 a.m.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of a conversation you had with Megan on February 22nd of 2020?
Yes.
We'd ask that to be made exhibit number 82. Then, would these messages have occurred after you found out that Evelyn was missing?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. What do you say to Megan at 2:46 a.m. on February 22nd?
I just got out of control. Did you tell me Ethan had her? If she's sick, if he's sick, he still hasn't seen her since December.
Okay, hold. We have to slow this down. She is cry talking. Understandably. Let's go to normal speed. I need this.
Okay. What do you say to Megan at 2:46 a.m. on February 22nd?
I just got out of control. Did you tell me Ethan had her? If she's sick, if he's sick, he still hasn't seen her since December. I hope we can find her. I've been crying. Just you.
The jury can see these text messages.
If whoever you said has her in that interview, I hope they bring her back and everything.
Okay. So you said, I'll try to help you a little bit. Okay. You said to her, if whoever you said has her in that interview, I hope they bring her back and everything. And then can you tell me what Megan says in response?
Me too. I just couldn't tell anyone because I was worried the person might run or harm Evelyn or someone else in my family.
Okay. And then you say,
The
I'm just
solid lie to your friend who cares this much about you and Evelyn. Jail time just for that. Go to jail just for that. For you being such a crappy friend. Jail time for that. Jail to jail. Just for that alone is you should go to jail. That is absolutely unfathomable. That to me has told the jury right there every single thing they need to know. They started this day listening to the interview. Was this day? Yep. They started this day listening to the interview where Megan says she was not breathing. I did the CPR. And now they're ending the day from the defense. The defense put that interview up. Now they're ending the day on these very, very impactful, strong, emotional, very extremely emotional moments where direct text messages are being read directly from Megan saying that I could not say anything because I didn't want the person who has her to run or harm her. Excuse me?
confused about everything and I don't know what to believe. So just please tell me the truth and be upfront with it because I love Evelyn and as much as you do. And I feel like I deserve the
More,
truth.
baby.
I know
You
you felt
loved
you
her
needed
more.
to lie to keep Evelyn safe, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And what does Megan say in response?
If I could tell you anything, I could, but I was told not to. As soon as I can talk, I promise you'll be the first person I come to.
Oh, end the day there. End the day there.
The conversation continues.
Oh,
You ask her, do you think Evelyn is okay? Or do you think this person would do something to harm her? I hate not knowing anything because I'm so worried and my mind just goes to the worst. You say, God, that makes me worried because it seems like she's the person that would have had Evelyn. And who are you talking about there? Or do you know?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. If she doesn't have her, then where would she be? I'm hoping the person isn't your mom because I just don't get why she'd take Evelyn and wouldn't let you see her because I never saw her. And then you say, are you and Hunter okay? Because everything he's saying to the news is false. And what does Megan say?
Oh, what do you mean everything he's saying to the news? He's kind of got threats to the business and everything.
what did he say to the news?
And then you said,
Show me
y'all
that.
weren't serious and that you guys were on and off. You never told me you guys were on and off, and I thought you guys were pretty serious. And what does Megan say?
We were definitely living together and shit, but he did that so people would stop giving him death threats or whatever.
Okay. And you say, are you guys okay, though? Is he being a support to you through this, or are you guys not in contact right now? And what does Megan say?
No, we've talked.
Okay. And then you say, I hope everything is
Strange.
okay between the two of you since you've been through a lot, and this is a lot. Then you ask her, did he, are you talking about Hunter,
Yes.
ever see Evelyn? I know at the beginning he never saw her because you wouldn't let him. But after that, did he ever get to meet her? You never told me. And what does Megan say?
I'm not getting into that for Hunter's sake.
And then you ask, when is the last time you saw Evelyn? And what does Megan say?
I can't disclose that either.
Okay. And you say the police are saying that the babysitter saw her last on December 10th. Did you see her on the 26th, like in the original Amber Alert? And what does Megan, let me make that smaller. What does Megan say?
I can't disclose that.
Okay.
If it's true that a police interview occurred with Megan, and law enforcement said, try not to speak to anyone as we continue this investigation, that it was the best thing that happened. That was probably one of the only things that she heard in that. Don't tell anyone anything, right? Don't tell anyone anything. Don't tell anyone what we're doing. Don't tell anything that anyone that what you said here. Let us investigate. Excuse me, right? That was the best thing for Megan because she said, bet. I don't have to come up with lies. I can just say, I can't disclose that. I can't talk about that. Oh, for so-and-so's sake, I can't talk about that. Oh, I can't talk about that. Best thing for her. She got a break from coming up with lies, unfortunately.
We've already talked about the other things she told you about where Evelyn was. Did she ever tell you anyone else had Evelyn?
No.
Okay. Did you ever ask her about her mom?
Yes. On February 22nd, we ended up hanging out that day. And she told me that Evelyn was with her mom.
Okay. Did she act concerned about that at all?
Not really.
Okay. Was she worried for Evelyn?
I mean, at that point, I just was kind of in my own head about everything. So it's kind of hard to tell what she was feeling because I was just kind of, everything was too much at that point. So it's hard to say.
Okay. Well, I'm asking specifically about when she said Angela, her mom, or Angel, had Evelyn. Did she seem to be scared for Evelyn's safety?
I mean, I don't guess so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it?
It's a receipt from when we stayed at, or no, not when we stayed at Agnologia.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is. Okay, it's on February 22nd when I dropped her off at Econo Lodge.
Okay. So you're saying you dropped her off at the Econo Lodge?
Yeah.
Is that the one on Airport Highway?
Yes.
Okay. And whose signature is on that receipt?
Mine.
Okay. So did you, for lack of a better term, did you get a room? You pay for a room for Megan for that night at the Econo Lodge?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to
Why?
read off for that as exhibit number 83.
No, sir. Full exhibit 83.
Why you got a room for Megan that night?
She said that with everything going on, she just wanted to get away.
Okay. Did you stay there with her that night, or did she stay there alone? Or
No, I didn't stay with her. I just dropped her off.
okay. All right. Please answer any questions the defense attorney asked for you. Okay.
All right, let's skip on ahead. We're done with that. We will start with, there's a lot of witnesses in this case, a lot of prosecution witnesses in this case. Oh, hush. There are a lot of witnesses, and we are going to skip to another law enforcement official who, let me,
assignment there at the Sheriff's Office.
I am a lieutenant over internal affairs.
Lieutenant Gillum, back in February of 2020, what was your assignment at the Sheriff's Office?
I was a detective in our criminal investigations division.
All right. And within the criminal investigations division, did you have a particular set of crimes that you worked or investigated?
I did. During my 7 years in the detective division, I worked with the child abuse and child sex abuse crimes.
All right. And so on February the 18th of 2020, a report came into the sheriff's office regarding a missing child by the name of Evelyn Boswell. Were you aware of that call?
I was.
All right. And were you in the office at the time that call came in?
Yes.
If you would kind of tell us what you did as an investigator.
These
on that
accents are
particular
incredible.
On that day, another detective met response when the call come in, which means that they just went out to the residence to check on the child, to check her well-being, see if she needed any attention, anything like that. And then I met response actually in the office with Megan Boswell.
Okay. And the detective that met response, would that have been Tracy Carraz?
It was.
Okay. And do you all work with the Department of Children's Services when these referrals first come in?
Yeah, so when a DCS referral first comes in, the Department of Children's Service investigator is the one who initially gets it and then sends it to law enforcement. And we team up with them and we meet response together, which in that case was Jimmy Lewis and Tracy Harraz. They went to the residence of Megan Boswell to check on Evelyn.
Okay. At some point in time, did Detective Harraz and Jimmy Lewis arrive at the sheriff's office?
They did. After they went to Megan's residence, they came back to the sheriff's office with Megan for her to be interviewed. And then that's when I met up with her.
Okay. Now, were you involved? Did you interview Megan initially?
No, the initial interview was conducted by Jimmy Lewis and Tracy Harraz for a brief time before I got to the sheriff's office.
All right.
Then I took over.
Okay. Did you discuss with them what was going on in the case? Did you before you went in to talk with Megan? Did you all share information?
Me and Megan, or me and
You and Detective Harraz.
we did briefly, and pretty much all that conversation looked like was that Evelyn is missing.
So I guess when you went in to talk to Megan for the first time, what was your approach to interviewing her? What were you trying to?
I didn't have much information, so I just started from the very beginning, as I would with any case, with the basic info of names, addresses, and things like that.
All right. And this interview, where was it conducted?
In our sheriff's office, the interview room.
All right. And is your interview room, is that equipped with audio, video recording devices?
It is.
And was your interview, in fact, recorded over there?
It is.
Did you, as the interview went on, did you have doubts or question what Megan was telling you about Evelyn?
Yes. During the interview, just some of the things she was saying, it just wasn't adding up or making sense.
Okay. What was your concern, or what was your, I guess, the point of your investigation initially? What were you all trying to
To figure out where Evelyn is.
This interview that you had of Ms. Boswell, did you have an opportunity to review that interview and watch the recording
I did.
before coming into court here today? All right. And the recording that you watched, was that a true and accurate copy of your interview that you had with the defendant?
It is.
Judge, I would move to introduce that. I believe we are Exhibit 100.
Objection? No, sir. We full exhibit. Nothing.
Well, okay. If I could, Judge, I would ask to play that video at this time.
So now we are on to we are going to be watching once they sort out which one to actually play. We're going to be watching some interview footage, some more sort of in the moment, sort of conceptually grasping who Megan is when she is confronted directly one-on-one with questions of what the hell happened? Where is Evelyn? Why is this happening? So let's get them situated. This is the end, the last witness of day 3.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
Okay, so baby's Evelyn. Go ahead, Paul. Let me pick up on-
They're adjusting the volume.
When did you have it? Well, I had.
Anybody?
So what they're actually going to do is let the jury out, I think, and then adjust the volume. When they come back.
Yeah, there in October, she wasn't born until November, and I came home like at the beginning of February. That's when I came.
So about a year ago. Okay, so you come home, did she come with you?
Yes,
All right, and where's home for you?
to my dad, sorry.
With your dad? Where's your dad live?
I'm not agree.
Maybury, all right. So you left foster care, you maybe went to dad. Did baby daddy ever come with you then?
No.
Nope, okay. Where'd baby daddy live?
At the time, he was in like the army,
Okay,
and he was in Texas for a little bit, and I think he went back to like the base, wherever he was at.
okay. So where they are now?
Well, they say it's in Louisiana, so I guess that's where that.
Okay, all right, so we're back in February, you and baby went to your dad, right? How was that?
What do you mean?
Was it good? Y'all stay there long?
No, me and my dad didn't do a lot.
All right, so that didn't work out very well. Where'd y'all go then?
My grandma's was on
All right, when'd y'all go to grandma's?
I guess in April.
All right, so in April.
4th end of April.
Okay, so you didn't stay at dad's very long.
No.
Baby go with you to grandma's?
Yes.
All right, where's grandma live?
At the bottom of my dad.
All right, so she lives near dad, on Money Creek. All right, so you all go with grandma. Is it just grandma, grandma?
Grandma.
Just grandma. So y'all know her since April.
No, I moved out on my own in October.
Okay.
My dad was a trailer park.
Did baby go with you in
Yes.
October? All right, so you moved down to grandma's in October, baby went with you. Where'd you move to?
My dad's trailer park off of like Sugar Hollow and Buffalo. It's called Boswell, Mobile Home
Okay,
Park.
did you and baby?
Yes, it's just me and baby.
So you and Evelyn get your own place in October, all right? So from October until now, walk me through.
Okay. Ethan came. I went to Texas to see Ethan for like a couple of weeks.
When was that?
November, December.
Did baby go with you?
Yes.
All right. So you and baby went to Texas
Yeah.
to Ethan,
Yeah.
right?
And that was the first time that he met her because he didn't really have anything to do with her up until that point.
Okay.
Okay. So sometime in December, me and her moved in together.
Hunter's boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
But at that time, Evelyn was not with me when I started staying there because Ethan had her.
All right. So when you and baby went to Texas in November, the first time she met Ethan, did she come back with you?
Yes.
All right. So y'all went to Texas, had a couple weeks.
Yeah.
She come back with you.
Mhm.
And then walk me through from November to December.
Okay. I had her up until me and her didn't start staying together until probably like the middle towards the end of December.
Okay.
So up until that point, I lived in the trailer that my dad.
Right.
I know it wasn't any longer than like December 25th because I was with her on Christmas. And also that's when the lights got cut off because I just completely like moved all my stuff out.
Okay.
Okay. And then Ethan got her.
When?
On Christmas Day, me and Hunter, we came back from Vision Forge. On Christmas Eve, me, my dad, and Hunter, like everybody took a trip to Vision Forge.
Mhm.
And then Christmas morning, we came back and he got her then.
Did he come up and get her? Did you take her to him?
No, we took her to him.
Where did you take her?
Wherever his grandparents' house is, like a long gravel driveway, it's like town of Boswell.
Okay, so it's local. All right. So what made you all take her to him? Because he's not been in her life.
Well, because he was like complaining about wanting to know her. I mean, like after dad, I was trying to give him a fair shot, you know what I mean?
Was your plan to leave her?
No, I wanted to get her back.
Okay, so
But I wanted to let her have time to bond with her dad. And then after like,
did you stay there? Or did you just drop her off and say sayonara?
I mean, I sat there for a little bit and then she was fine. She kind of knew her from Texas.
Okay, so let's back up. He texted you saying he wanted to be in her life. And he said, hey, I'm at Hardtown, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So you say that would be great for you to be your daughter's life.
Yeah,
So you and Hunter or just you?
me and Hunter.
You and Hunter take Evelyn to where Ethan is,
Mhm.
all right? What happens then?
Well, Ethan would not let me come on the driveway. He made me walk all the way up his driveway, like, you know. And I walked up there first myself, and I was like, you're being ridiculous when you pull up the driveway. You know, because Matt Hunter's with me. And I told him Hunter would come with me when I got there. Like, before I got there, I called him. This is when I still had my own phone. I called him, and I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna come up there. You know, he got her some stuff for Christmas. I was like, okay, that's fine. I went to my brother's and got what he had gotten her for Christmas and stuff. You know, and I was like, I'll send it with you. I'll get her clothes and stuff, and we'll go up there. You know, I was like, that's fine. I was like, Hunter's gonna come with me. And he's like, okay, that's fine. I get there, and he's like, no, I don't want to come on the driveway.
Okay.
So at first I walked up there by myself, you know, I tried to talk to let me pull up the driveway. They really didn't walk her up there, you know what I'm saying? Walked myself back down, got her out of the car, and went back up there.
Okay.
And then I sat there for maybe like 23 minutes, she was fine, I left.
When you and Hunter took the baby there, did you and Ethan have a talk about how long she was going to be staying with him? So you took your baby, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this,
Okay.
you took your baby that you've cared for since the day she was born to her dad's house that she's had nothing to do with, and you stayed for 30 minutes, and he was being an ass, made you walk all the way up the driveway, was being difficult, and you left your baby with this man.
Well, I mean, I trusted him, so I was like, it's her dad.
So just because it's her dad, you trusted him, and he's not been in her life at all.
Well, I mean, I tried to give him benefit of the doubt.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think Ethan's a bad person.
But this is your baby.
Right,
You see where I'm
that's her
coming
dad.
from?
I see that, but like, you also have to understand that was like her dad.
Okay, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to argue with you.
No, no.
Sometimes like I am, but like,
This story, I feel like you're being honest, but there's a big chunk that you're not telling us. And I'm just gonna call it like it is, okay? Something within the story has happened. There's a huge chunk that you're just not telling us. I think you took her to me, probably around that time. But there's something missing, and we've got to find that missing piece, okay? And just looking at you, I can tell something ain't making sense. Can you gather that? Okay. She gathers it too. So you leave her with Ethan on Christmas, all right? Walk me through from Christmas till now.
okay, he talked to me like the next day, and he just kind of stopped like talking to me, not answering the phone, you know, and he got mad, and he got drunk, and he told me he was gonna come kill me, because he does that.
When was this?
New Year's, I think.
All right, so he had the baby. Did you try to get the baby back?
I went by where I picked her up, and she wasn't there.
Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this again. You're a mom who's dropped your kid off with a dad that she don't know.
Well, then I tried to,
And now you can't find her, but you don't notify us. You just have a good New Year's and carry on with life?
well, I mean, he told me he was going to his friend's house.
Okay, what friend?
I don't know their names, but I kind of know around about where they live.
So now this man that don't know your child is taking your child to someone's house that you don't even know their name?
Well, it was his friend. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but also I was really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he never helped me with that.
How many benefits of the doubt are we gonna give him in the story before you start telling me the truth? Because there's two ways this can go, okay? In order to do our job, we gotta have your cooperation, and you've gotta be honest with us, okay? But if you sit here and you continue to lie, which I know you're doing, it's not gonna end well, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna figure out what happened. We are. Okay? So, do we need to back up, Annie, and start over, and have you start telling us the truth?
He got mad because he didn't want Evelyn to be around Hunter,
Okay.
and then he just stopped talking to me. Like, on New Year's, he got mad, and he used to get mad all the time at me and be like, well, I'm going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. And then me and him broke up because he was, like, threatening my little brother.
So you have not talked to him since New Year's, is what you're telling me.
And he's messaged me maybe one time. I've tried leaving him several voicemails, he won't answer me.
You got your phone on you?
You don't have a phone.
Where is your phone?
Me and my dad got into it, I'll be honest with you, probably like a couple days after Christmas, because the last time I've been around my dad, and I was kind of smashed because I want to talk to him. I just really not have the money every around him.
So within the messages you would send Ethan, how would you do that beyond the phone?
From Hunter's phone.
From Hunter's phone. Okay.
I tried to call him several times, he's not returned my calls.
So when were you going to notify us about your baby?
If he didn't meet me tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because you waited months and you've not cared in months. So why tomorrow would you notify us?
I was going to try to meet him tomorrow together.
Have you talked about that?
He told me he'd get her back to me in about 2 months. Or when me and I broke up.
So he told you, and you just picked tomorrow without notifying him of anything.
Well, tomorrow would have been 2 months.
Oh, why do you talk to him? To verify a date? So then what would you want to notify us of? Because how would he know to meet you?
Because that's what he said, 2 months.
Where was y'all going to meet at?
Angels at Grand High.
So where do you think your baby is right now?
I have no clue. I thought she was with him.
Is this your only kid? You ever had a kid before?
No, it's my only kid. She got confused with the records and thought that I had 2 kids, but when I was in foster care, I had to place Evelyn in an agreement with Holton Homes so I could keep her with me at the foster care place, because they would not let me keep her any other way.
So where do you think she's at?
I don't know.
You seem totally unfazed by this. That tells me that you know where your baby's at.
No, I don't.
Megan, I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to a lot of mothers. I've talked to a lot of girls. Okay? What you're telling me very well could be partial truth. But like I said, there's a piece that you're not telling me. We're going to figure out what happened. We always do. Okay? Are you connected in any way?
No.
I'm going to straight up ask you, did you have anything to do with you not knowing where your daughter's at?
I mean, I dropped her off at Ethan's, so I mean, in a way, yes, but as far as like anything else, no.
Do you see how different Megan was? Just completely different when being interviewed by a woman, a female law enforcement official who is a professional in the world of child abuse and how to make sure it doesn't continue, how to stop it, how to find who's doing it and all that stuff. I need to plug my computer in. I don't want to disturb my cat. He's so happy and so peaceful. I'm jealous at his ability to just sleep. She was completely different than when 2 men were speaking to her. The bluntness, the forcefulness, the direct questions, and then the truth, the the I'm dropping a bomb truth to you, Megan, was absolutely mic drop. Mic drop. It was incredible. I'm going to ask you directly, do you have any connection to this? You seem pretty calm for someone who doesn't know where your child is, which makes me think you do. You have something to do with this. Why tomorrow? Why tomorrow? Why tomorrow? Because we're sitting here today. Oh, but you were going to tell us. You haven't talked to us in months. You haven't told us anything in months. Why tomorrow? You haven't told anyone that something bad has happened. So why tomorrow? Because we're sitting here today. So why tomorrow? Interesting. Huh, interesting. All right, let me skip. Let me skip ahead. And we just did day 3. Perfect. And what were we covering in day 4? More of the interview, right? More of that interview. We can do that for sure. But from the point of a different witness.
I swear from testimony about the truth, all truth, and the truth.
Yes, sir, I do.
Good morning.
Morning.
Scoot up close to the mic. Speak up loud.
Okay,
Thank you. There you go. You're Steve Williams, is that correct?
that's correct.
And you were previously employed with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. How long were you employed there?
Just under 34 years.
So back in February of 2020, were you working at the Sheriff's Office?
34
That's correct.
years.
And what was your position or assignment there within the Sheriff's Office?
I was lieutenant over criminal investigations.
And during that time in February of 2020, did you assist in the investigation of a missing child by the name of Evelyn Boswell?
Yes, sir, I did.
And specifically, did you participate in interviewing the defendant?
Yes, I did.
All right. Now, at the time at which you interviewed Miss Boswell, had other detectives already spoken with her?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you aware, did you know what she had already told them?
Yes.
All right. So what was the information or what did you know about Evelyn's disappearance and Miss Boswell's involvement before you went in to talk with her?
I just knew that she had told that her daughter was missing, that it come in through DCS that her daughter was missing, and we was trying to follow up on her daughter being missing.
Okay. Where did you talk with her?
At the sheriff's office in criminal investigations division in the interview room.
Okay. And this
Oops. Sorry.
interview room, does it have the ability to sit outside and listen to the interview as they're going on?
Yes.
All right. Did you listen to the interviews that were done by the other detectives?
Some of them and parts of them. I can say I heard every one of them.
All right. And is this interview room located over at the Sheriff's Department?
Yes, sir.
And is that here in Bluntville and Sullivan County?
Yes, sir.
When you went in to speak with her, what was your approach in speaking with her? Did you take a different tack than the other detectives had taken, or?
Well, I just went in and was just being nice to her and trying to talk with her, or if you'd say civilly and not browbeat her or anything.
All right. And was your interview with her recorded?
Yes, sir.
And prior to coming to court here today, did you have a chance to watch that interview?
Yes.
And was it a true and accurate recording of that interview that you had with Megan Boswell?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'm going to move to introduce that as Exhibit 182.
No objection.
That's to play that for the jury.
Here we go, folks.
Hello.
I'm Steve Williams. Hold on just a second. I'm going.
I can't go down
I'll hop off this playing.
Child.
there. Yeah.
And where's the last time you saw your child? I'm coming on to
Right after Christmas.
Where?
Ethan.
Okay. And you said Ethan, does that mean Ethan's in Louisiana or Ethan's?
In Bluntville. Like I told him, I don't know if he took and dropped her off somewhere right after I dropped her to him, but I don't know what's going on.
Where did you give her to Ethan at?
Bluntville. I was drunk at a
Okay.
And what's his grandparents' name?
I know his grandma's name is Sherry, but I do not know his grandpa's name.
Okay. Have you ever been there?
Once or twice.
And you've met him?
I've met Carl.
And that's his grandfather?
Yes.
And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tell you I didn't know his name, but as soon as you asked me, it fit right on that.
that's okay.
Do I
And,
have any questions here on that?
no, we'll be done in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Are you in a hurry?
I mean, like, no, but if they're gonna keep questioning me, keep me alive, like, I want an attorney.
Okay.
Girl, you done should have thought about that a long time ago.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Well,
If you're gonna keep
do you want
questioning me,
to
I
talk to
want
me?
an attorney.
Yeah.
If you're gonna keep putting lies in my mouth, I want an attorney. Girl, just ask for, and I will not be answering any questions. I would like an attorney present. Just get a lawyer. Why? Even if you are like a super bad person, like across the board, just life lesson. Cops, law enforcement officials, police officers, whatever they want to be called, investigators, they are not your friend. They are not your friend. The only person you should be trusting when you are in a position where a police officer wants you to answer questions and they are going to ask them, the only thing you should be saying is, I do not answer questions. I would like a lawyer present. I would like an attorney. Give me a lawyer. I do not answer questions. I want a lawyer. 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 Get a lawyer. Get an attorney. Get a lawyer. They are not your friends. And every single word that you say, if you are going to court, will be played in court. Every single word. Stop it. Stop it right now. No, I don't want bad people to smarten up, because that's how we catch bad people, is because they're dumb, right? But I think that you should just get a lawyer. Stop agreeing to help because you think you can outlie police officers, investigators. You cannot. You will not. You cannot outlie them. It won't work, because you will always be caught in a lie, no matter what it is. Because this girl is out here saying a lot of lies. She's making up a lot of shit. She's making up so much she can't keep it straight. She can't keep it straight. That's why I said when the cop said, hey, don't talk about it, or she came up with the idea, the cop said, don't tell people what you said here in this interview. Excuse me. That was ideal for her, so she can say, I can't talk about it, until everything's sorted out. I can't talk about what I said to the cops. It saved her energy from coming up with lies. More lies.
Okay.
Because I'm not lying to them.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Girl, you were so close. You were so close to it. Listen to this. Listen to this. Oh my God. I mean, like, no, but if they're going to keep questioning me and accusing me of lying, like, I want an attorney.
Okay.
He says,
Because I'm
okay.
not lying to them.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk to me?
Do you want to
Yeah.
talk to me?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You were so close. So, do you want to talk to me? Yeah. Oh my God. You were so close. You knew the words to say, but you just didn't say them.
So
You
the
think
last
you're
time
so
saw
smart.
your
You
child
think you're so
was
slick.
Mhm.
and you took your child to Evelyn's grandparents'
You're not.
house, correct?
Right, but I never walked in, we stood in the driveway.
Okay. So what was you driving?
I was driving my Cruise, I don't have anyone. It was a red 2018 Cruise. It's like a little Chevy sedan.
No. Okay. And was Ethan staying there?
I mean, I guess he was, I don't know. He just had me come up there.
Did you see Ethan there?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see his grandfather there?
No. Me and Ethan just outside and talked, kind of like away from the house.
Okay.
Like the house was like over here where he parked his car was like towards the trees of the house, and we were standing like towards this side of his car.
Okay. And you dropped Evelyn?
Mm-hmm.
And
So the car's in his car and everything.
what kind of car was he driving?
A 2018 Nissan Versa, black.
Okay. And then that was Christmas Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after Christmas Day, do you communicate with,
He won't talk to me.
But
On New Year's Eve, and sort of on New Year's again, me and him argue back and forth.
on text message or,
No,
or actually?
on the phone.
Okay. So actually talking.
Yeah, he would get mad and hang up, and I'll call back, and he'd answer, Phil would get mad and hang up, and just would answer him.
Did he say he had Evelyn then?
Yes. And I left him tons of voicemails, and I was like, look, like, if you want me to leave where I'm at, like, I'll come to New Year's with you and Evelyn, like, I just want us to be there as a family, you know what I mean? Like, I'll come to where you are.
Where was he at then?
I think he was at his friend's house.
Who's his friend?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Friend around here or friend?
Friend around here.
Okay. And you don't know who his friend is?
He doesn't tell me anything.
Okay. How long have y'all dated before?
Like 3 years, maybe 4.
Okay. And but did you
3 years, yeah.
You know his friend?
No, I was never allowed to be around any of his friends.
And then, did you ever call him and say, hey, where's Evelyn? It's been.
Why weren't you ever allowed to be around any of his friends? It's very, this person is very interesting. Megan is very interesting. She is a liar, but is she a learned liar, or does this just come natural to her? Did she learn this growing up in her, she did not, sure. Like I said earlier, she did not have an easy childhood. A lot of people did not have an easy childhood. Did she learn this, or what is this, like a discovery within herself that like lying is continually coming up with lies is like fun? Is she having fun?
I tried to call, and he won't answer. I was like, voice messages, he wouldn't call back. And I feel like I was telling them, like, I had Evelyn for like over a year, and he never checked on her, and I just swore her by myself. So when I got up here, I was like, you can take care of your daughter for a little bit. Not that I don't love my daughter, want to be with her, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, you don't help me at all. Like, I want you to see how it feels. No help.
So he didn't help you financially or
No.
taking care of her?
No.
He was in the military.
Yeah, like, he would never even be like, hey, like, is she okay? Or like, try to check on her, help me at all.
Does he live in a house down there?
I don't know.
And you don't know where she's at? And the last time you saw her was Christmas?
Right.
Have you went to his grandparents' house?
Yeah, but nobody was there when I went.
Okay. Have you called them and asked them where she's at? Okay. And what brought you here today?
I guess my dad called.
So you still haven't heard from her, but somebody's called about her,
Yeah.
right? And you have no idea where she's at? Okay. Have you tried to talk to her?
I mean, yeah, like I called you on answer. I didn't know he went back to the Army till then. Like, I was news to me when they came in here, like, oh, he's from Louisiana.
Have you went to court?
No.
To try
To be honest with you, I was really trying to be civil over it, and like I said, I supported her for like over a year, and I was like, if you want to keep her for a little bit, like, that's fine by me, you know what I'm saying? My mom had a baby when I was like 12, 13, I don't remember herself in 13, so I guess I was 12. And like, I had basically raised him. She knows I'm 15, like, I had basically raised her, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like I had 3 kids all the time.
Okay.
And I was like, it's his kid, if he wants to keep her for a little bit, like, by all means, you know what I mean? I'm all for it. And like I said, something I don't love Evelyn or want to be with her, but it's just, you know what I mean? Is what it is.
Is he a girlfriend?
Ethan? He might, I don't know, he used to. She lives in like, I don't know if they ever dated, let me take that back. He was talking to her, but she lives in like really sketchy apartment, like the government house. And I'll say her flower, but I guess that's torn down, so I don't know.
What's he on there? Okay. So if you was guessing where she was at, where would you say she was at?
I don't know if he dropped her off from her or somebody or what he did, so I don't know.
Well, it has to be somebody he trusted.
Right.
So who would you think that he would trust him much besides his grandparents?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I didn't know he really talked to his grandparents that much. Even never told me anything about his personal life. Like, especially after got in the Army, like, he's just not talking about it. I don't care how much I cried, he just was not talking about it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And also, when he comes in the Army, he'd go like months without talking to me.
Well,
before and after I had Evelyn.
well, if you're in the military, sometimes you're out in the field and stuff like that. You can't just.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but sometimes he would just get mad and just not talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like long periods of time. And I know that wouldn't be.
Right. Okay. So if you could help us right now find her, where would you tell us to look?
she backtracks a lot. So what I've noticed and what I've recognized in her lies is she'll say something and she might see someone's face twinge or their body language alters, or they take a note and she'll do a backtrack to lay foundation for why she just said what she said. So like Ethan not talking to her for a couple of months, she went back and said, well, but that was normal before all of this. Even he would just go a couple of months, he'd get mad, he'd be annoyed at me, and he'd just go a couple of months without talking to me. And then when she's hit with some fair reasoning, well, to be fair, he's in the military, maybe he's out in the field or they're doing training and they can't make calls for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Her response was, no, it was just because he got mad. He got mad and he wouldn't call me, like that's why. That was just who he was. So him disappearing now is normal. So don't think anything of it. The backtracking to fill in and to try to remove the doubt of the lie is very masterful, in my opinion. She is so aware of her surroundings. She is so aware of how people are ingesting her lies. She recognizes any little twinge to make sure that her lie has a basis, and she can say, well, no, I told him that, like, he doesn't call, like he just sometimes he just wouldn't call, like they'll be like, he wouldn't call for me for like a month or 2 months even, I just wouldn't hear from him for like 2 months just because like he got mad about something, like whatever, like he's so emotional, like he would just get so mad and he just wouldn't talk to me for a couple months. It's a whole making sure, it's like the moment of I need to circle back and make sure they believed this bit, because I'm scared that they may not believe it. I'm scared that there may be some misinterpretation. There might be some confusion. They might think I'm lying. Let me go back, right? They won't think anything of it. Let me just go back and let me lay the foundation so that they believe it. She's done it a couple of times. We've seen it. That's wild. So right now we are going to skip ahead to, like I said, this was long. This is a lot. We're gonna skip some of the police interview. We're going to go straight into state's closing arguments, which starts at about hour 4:40, and then goes to about 5:25. And then the defense has their closing arguments, which goes from about 5:28 to just about 5:55, so not too long there. And then the state has a rebuttal as well, which is going to go from about 5:58, just directly back to back, to about 6:20. And then the trial will be handed over to the jury. So I'm going to skippity do right on over there to the closing arguments so that we can fit all of that in, and then we can get to the verdict, and then anything that comes after the verdict we can cover in today as well. So let me get this up and running. We're going to start with the state's closing arguments, which I know is going to be difficult to listen to. So take your time with it. If you, it's going to be a summary of, hey, I told you in opening I was going to do this. Remember, I did this, and this. I did all those things. Plus, we added a few more things for you as a jury to fully believe that she is 100% responsible. Did I not say words right? 100% responsible for every single thing that happened to Evelyn. It is her responsibility and she done it. And here are some unfortunately gruesome details. You as a jury have been tasked with a very difficult job, to listen to a lot of difficult things, to see a lot of difficult pictures, to do a really hard job and take on a lot of trauma to make sure that baby Evelyn gets justice. So that's what the state's going to handle. And the defense is going to be like, guys, I appreciate your time. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, y'all are like super cool, awesome. Thank you for being here, appreciate it. But like, it's not like it was Sid's and she was young, right? It was Sid's. She was young. She did everything she could. Did she lie a little bit? Sure. But don't we all lie a little bit? Right? Like you've never told a lie. And then the state's going to be like, okay, and one more thing. Remember when she said this, and this? Here's this final bomb, a reminder of the biggest drop of the night. And then the jury will go and make their decision. So that's what we're expecting. That's what we're going to see. Prepare for some really not so awesome things. But here we go, folks. Here we go.
Not yet.
Captions on. Hopefully they speak loud and clearly.
That's okay, Your Honor.
Right.
Thank you. So we've finally reached the point in trial for closing arguments. And what this essentially means is an opportunity for the state of Tennessee to go through, talk about the evidence a little bit, reflect on some of the witnesses, because it's been a pretty long, almost 2 weeks. The state will go first, then one of the defense attorneys will have an opportunity to go, then the state will go again. And Matt, I'll talk a little more about that in a second, but that's because the state carries the burden of proof. So I think each of you should have a jury instruction pamphlet in front of you. I'm going to ask you, if you flip to page number 6, it covers the burden of proof. And it seems like it's a common misnomer for the burden of proof to appear to be higher than it actually is for the state of Tennessee. And don't get me wrong, it is a high burden, and we gladly carry that burden every step of the way. But when you read about reasonable doubt, and that, of course, the burden never shifts to the defense. The burden is always on the state of Tennessee. It is a burden. It's not absolute certainty. It does not require you to say, I don't know 100% what happened. That is not what is required by the law. It is not absolute certainty. It's essentially, can you go to bed and let your mind rest easy? Can you, actually, I'm going to do one other thing real quick. What I'm asking you to do is essentially use your own common sense. That's one of the most important things. Okay. And I'm going to give an example of what I mean by this, if I can.
I love a good demonstrative. Let's see what's happening.
It's like Wheel of Fortune. Okay. My handwriting's not the best, though. But you get the idea here. It's like Wheel of Fortune. When you see a contestant on Wheel of Fortune and they know the answer to the phrase or the statement, they don't have all the letters when they see that phrase, but they know what the answer is. And if the state has done that, we have met our burden. And it's important to note that it's not beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's not absolute certainty. That is not what is required by the law, by the state of Tennessee. So that brings me to some of the arguments that Mr. Scott has made through this trial.
I don't know if I was happy with that demonstrative. I don't know. I think it's a great metaphor. I don't think it needed all of that.
Here it is, page 5. In your instructions, in the second paragraph, it states, statements, arguments, and remarks of counsel are intended to help you in understanding the evidence and applying the law, but they are not evidence. And I beg you to remember that. When Mr. Scott gets back up and makes his arguments, remember that. The things that come out of his mouth and that came out of his mouth during trial, that is not the evidence. He tried to get you to speculate on so many things during this trial. He wanted to throw out strange theories with aluminum foil. He wanted to throw out a term that doesn't even matter anymore, SIDS. That came from his mouth, not either of the doctors, but from Mr. Scott. He's asking you to speculate. That is not evidence. I beg you to only think about the items that were put into evidence, the photographs, the recordings, and what came from the witness stand. Do not let them sway you from what actually happened in this case. He kept mentioning cadaver dogs. He wanted you to think about that. But if you remember the cadaver dogs, Tommy Boswell, on his property, what did we hear him say? The cadaver dogs didn't even go up there by the playhouse. He wants you to believe maybe the body wasn't there at that time. He's trying to throw you off, but he didn't show anything. There's no proof. There's no evidence.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you once again and it's in here in these instructions, but the defendant has no burden to prove anything during this trial. The burden is wholly on the state of Tennessee. Okay? Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. And I believe I said that. The state, we gladly carry this burden. But again, what comes out of Mr. Scott's mouth is not evidence. You heard nothing from the witness stand about cadaver dogs. There's no piece of evidence about cadaver dogs. And Mr. Scott said in his opening statement, humans make mistakes. Do you remember that? Dogs also commit mistakes. And if you remember, Agent Fraley and Agent Gratz, both with the TBI, what did they say? They didn't smell anything in that playhouse until they lifted the black bag, and immediately the smell of decomposition hit them. I submit to you, cadaver dogs, what do they work off of? The smell of decomposition. Don't let that fool you. Mr. Scott also talked a lot about Hunter Wood. We heard a lot about Mr. Wood in this trial. Again, did we hear any witness from the witness stand that ever saw Evelyn with Hunter Wood? There wasn't a witness that ever saw Evelyn with Hunter Wood. And if you remember the text messages that we saw yesterday from essentially Hunter's own mouth, it's pretty clear that he's yet another victim of Megan Boswell. She was feeding him the same lines that she was feeding every other person in this case. Mr. Scott brought up the theory of an accident or the word SIDS. Well, you heard Dr. Malushnik say that in the past 10 years in the state of Tennessee, a child 12 months or older has not passed away from SIDS or sudden unexplained death. Those are statistics from the state of Tennessee. But somehow Mr. Scott wants you to believe that somehow that's how this baby died, even though she has foil wrapped around her head, a blanket wrapped around that, inside a trash bag, upside down in a trash can. Let's go through our timeline just for a minute. What do we know? We know that Evelyn was okay until November of 2019. We know that Evelyn was seen at Thanksgiving by family. And then Megan Boswell started a new job at the Chicken Shack. What do we know after that? Megan Boswell meets Hunter Wood. And we know that Sue Whitson is probably the last person to ever see Evelyn alive again. You remember the picture that Sue took? This is very likely the very last picture of Evelyn Boswell alive. Not taken by Megan Boswell, but taken by the babysitter. Sue Whitson testified that the last time she babysat was the end of November, early December, which just so happened to coincide with when Megan Boswell met Hunter Wood, a guy that she was hoping might change her life. That Evelyn was in the way. What did we hear? You remember Megan's friend, Maddie Broom. We heard a little bit about her. Her brother, Stephen Lawrence, tried to help Megan. She drove her to a few of the interviews. And if you remember, Megan was apartment shopping on December 8th. And on that date, Evelyn was not with her. And so Stephen asked her later, after it's been reported that Evelyn's missing, he says, was Evelyn gone by then? And what did Megan say? Yes, Evelyn was gone by then. So that takes our window from December 3rd, essentially when Megan Boswell started working at the Chicken Shack, to December 8th. Evelyn Boswell's 12-month well visit. Do you remember that? Scheduled for December 5th. Megan doesn't call and cancel. She just no-shows. And Casey Saltz, the receptionist there, had to reach out and ask Megan, and Megan gave some excuse, I can't remember what it was, as to why she couldn't bring her. So they rescheduled for the next day. Did Megan show up with Evelyn the next day? No, she didn't. I submit to you, that's because Evelyn was already gone at that point. Casey texts Megan again, and Megan has yet another excuse. The appointment's rescheduled one more time for December 11th, and conveniently, Megan then says, oh, I've decided to change pediatricians. And as we can all imagine, when you change pediatricians, we all know that children have vaccine records and all of the things that come with being, especially that first 12 months of life. They've got a lot of appointments and a lot of vaccinations. So it'd be really, really important to transfer that information to the new pediatrician.
I just wanted to chime in. We skipped a bunch in this trial. So there was a doctor who took the stand apparently and said that in Tennessee in the last 10 years, there has no child over the age of 12 months has passed from SIDS, which is sudden unexplained infant death syndrome. So that's going to be a big red flag for the jury to be like, hey, but this doesn't happen. And like, it would be a wild thing that it did. Like the chance of it happening, very slim. So we missed that, but that's fantastic for the jury. The prosecution, I think, overall, from what I've seen, has handled this very well. They have put in a lot of work. They've had a lot of time. They've done a lot of work. They have really dug up everything that they needed to do. And they are really doing in my opinion, a personable job here. So they are making things personable. She's lying. She has made her Hunter a victim in this as well by subjecting him to her lie. So they are creating a monster out of the defendant in a really personable way. We've all had someone who lied to us, right? We've all had someone lie, and like we all have an experience, and how does that make you feel? And how far was that person willing to go? Well, Megan was willing to go very far. I think they're doing
Did
fantastic.
Megan Boswell do that? No, she didn't. They never got a request from another pediatrician. That was just another line that Megan Boswell told, start trying.
Also, without anything else, it's also extremely powerful to have the argument of a woman, the argument from a woman here, standing here, a boss ass bitch, in my opinion, standing here and saying she lied and killed her daughter. Can you imagine? Right? Like having this boss, this queen who is standing here running the show, taking full control, looking at the jury and saying, this girl was a mother and she lied and she lied and she lied to cover up the murder of her child. It just hits different. It hits different.
I say trying to cover her tracks. We also know that on December 7th, you saw a text message yesterday from a girl named Haley Marie, and that is the very first time that Megan tells the story her dad has her. December 7th. Keep in mind, Sue Whitson saw Evelyn alive for the last time, and then Megan just stopped showing up. And then by December 7th, she's concocted her plan. And it really explains why so much time goes by. Because I know that's a question we have all had. 2.5 months goes by. 2.5 months. But now we know. We know why. Because Megan Boswell was telling every single person in her family and her closest friends that Evelyn was with her father. So what does a rational person think? Okay, we're glad. I think Tommy even said that from the stand. I was proud of him for stepping up. I was proud of him for stepping up and taking responsibility. But, time continues to pass. And you heard witnesses, in particularly Bailey and Audrey, Megan's closest friends. They were all starting to talk and to think. Like, something doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. But no one could have known how wrong this was at the time. February 2020, finally, Tommy Boswell says, I've had enough. I want to see my granddaughter. Show her to me by tomorrow, or I'm reporting it to DCS. Well, Megan couldn't do that. Megan knew she couldn't do that because she knew where Evelyn was. We all know where Evelyn was. And so Megan did not produce Evelyn that day. And Tommy finally gets the ball rolling on trying to find this little girl. And they first show up at Hunter Wood's house on the lake in a nice neighborhood. And Megan Boswell's there. But there's no baby. There's no Evelyn. And you remember, the only thing Megan, you remember James Lewis from DCS, the only thing Megan was really able to show was this box from Hunter's bedroom. And you remember what Megan called that box? A memory box. Now, why would you call something a memory box if you were alleging that your child is still alive? This is all Megan Boswell had of Evelyn in that house that she was trying to show DCS that Evelyn was living in. She couldn't show him diapers. She couldn't show him a pack and play. She showed him one outfit that she held up on a hanger, not an outfit that Evelyn had ever worn. There was no evidence that a child had ever been in that house. Now, I'm going to touch on something briefly. If you remember Paul Durant yesterday, going back and trying to just give you a little bit of a timeline. If you remember, he talked about Ethan Perry in the military because Megan Boswell led him to believe that he was the father, even though he had his doubts. She convinced him that he was the father of Evelyn. We know he was not the father. We know that. And he said she was sharing photos daily, constantly sharing photos. Until what day? Do you remember the date? December 3rd. On December 3rd, Megan Boswell stopped sharing photographs of Evelyn. And she continues to send pictures, but if you remember, Agent Juror he's a smart guy. And so he was able to check her full Facebook extraction. And so she continued to send pictures to Ethan, but they weren't recent pictures. It was just another way that she could try to keep this facade going just as long as she could. Mr. Scott wants you to believe that Megan Boswell had a rough life. She was in foster care. But Megan Boswell was in foster care because of Megan Boswell, because she would not go to school. She went to foster care because she was truant. And when she left foster care, she went and lived with her dad. Of course, Evelyn was a baby at this point. I think the testimony was from February to March of 2019. And then her dad said, I'm going to get her a trailer, set her up. He bought her a brand new car, buys her a trailer. He's giving her everything she needs to raise this child. And she goes and lives with her mommy, her grandmother, from April until October of 2019. And then finally into the trailer from October to December. I think it's fair to say that she did not live in that trailer with Evelyn for very long. But in that short period of time, this is what she was able to do to that trailer. Can we look at that for a second? That's what she had her child living in. If that's not neglect, she does this in 2 months. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg you to look at these pictures when you go back in the jury room. That, in 2 months, is what the defendant was able to do to the home her dad provided for her and her child. And within 2 months, Evelyn was dead. And I say that there are, maybe it's just my opinion, there are a lot of victims in this case. Bailey Hawkins, her very best friend. Did you see how difficult it was for Bailey to testify? To look at someone that she trusted, that she loved. Audrey Gibbs, same thing. They are also victims of Megan Boswell. And they will also suffer for the rest of their lives because of what Megan Boswell, the web that she created for them all to get caught in. Erica Stacy, who cared about Megan and Evelyn so much, is a victim. Gail Kite, the foster mother, she's a victim. Ethan Perry, who's serving his country, doing absolutely nothing other than his job, gets pulled up into Megan Boswell's web because Megan Boswell is only worried about Megan Boswell. And I'll submit to you that Hunter Wood, the person that they would like to blame somehow, is also a victim of Megan Boswell. She starts with first blaming Ethan Perry. She does that for a few days. And when she quickly realizes, gosh, law enforcement can figure out that I'm not telling the truth here, I guess I better tell something different, then she goes to her mom. She blames her mom, her own mother. She's willing to blame all the time knowing. I mean, we know, let's find the picture. We know where Evelyn was. There she is. Evelyn Boswell sat there in that trash can for 2.5 months. And her mom just started her, not just Evelyn, but everything that was associated with Evelyn. Everything. Because she didn't need it anymore. Everything. She didn't need that stroller anymore, so she left it behind. She didn't need the clothing. Do you remember all the pictures that came in and all of that stuff that was in that shed? Because she didn't need it anymore, because she knew where Evelyn was. The defense wants you to believe that Hunter Wood is the one that backed Megan's car up to that shed in the middle of the day. In the middle of the day, Hunter's just going to go over there. He has a truck. The testimony was that Hunter had a big truck. Now, why in the world, if he had a truck? I mean, this clearly took more than one trip. I guarantee you. Look at all this stuff. They want you to believe that Hunter Wood backed Megan Boswell's car up to that shed that day. Tawny came home. It was in the middle of the day. Where's the diagram? Do you remember the diagram of the scene? Look at this diagram. They somehow want you to believe that Hunter Wood pulls up this driveway and comes to this shed right here, right in front of Amani's house. Tawny's house up on the hill in the middle of the day. Is that reasonable? What is reasonable? How about that Megan Boswell is the one who drove her own vehicle, the vehicle her dad bought for her, up to that shed because Megan Boswell is the one who had a key fob. Remember, there's a gate there. that only opens with a key fob. That's the only way a car is coming through that driveway. And Megan Boswell lived there. You just heard that she lived at her dad's house and at her mommy's house. And so they're not going to be surprised if Megan Boswell is on the property. She's the one who dumped Evelyn's property there. She's the one who took the trash can there. Not Hunter, not anyone else. It's Megan Boswell. Do you remember there was more than one text message? And of course, keep in mind, the whole time these text messages are coming through, that's where Evelyn is, okay? Just think about that for a second. I'm not going to take the time to go through these because you can do that. You can take all of this back with you into the jury room. I encourage you to go back and read all of these text messages and remember the dates that we've talked about. But while Evelyn Boswell is sitting in this trash can and people are asking Megan, how's Evelyn? What does Megan say more than once? Mean as fuck. First of all, she's a 12-month-old child. And every other witness said that she was a lovely child to be around. And it's not a very nice statement to begin with, but it's definitely not a very nice statement when your kid is shoved down into a trash can upside down. And you know that. Agent Fraley was on the stand and you heard Megan Boswell admit that she knew Evelyn was dead. Where she's telling all of those stories to law enforcement. And she told more than one person, Evelyn's mean as fuck. And when Agent Grass asked her about it, she goes, what's your point? What's your point? And that's an interview with Agent Grass that you can also go back and watch if you'd like to do that. So we saw the defendant enjoy crying during this trial because she has an audience and she really enjoys that. But did we see her crying any other time? Did we see her crying from the witnesses on the witness stand and what they told us about her? Did we see her crying in the evidence that came in? No, Megan wasn't crying. Do you think she was crying when she filled out this apartment application with Hunter Wood, where they list 3 occupants are going to live in the apartment? And at first glance, we're like, oh, Megan, Hunter, and Evelyn. But that's not what the defendant told David Gratz. Do you remember what she told him? She said the 3rd occupant is the baby she's pregnant with because Hunter doesn't want Evelyn to live with him. Of course, we could also look at the date on that application, January 4th of 2020. And we also know another reason that Evelyn would not be living with them. Was Megan crying here?
No holds barred. This is my cat is waking up for the day, and this is no holds barred. She exactly said it. She said, look at Megan with an audience. Oh my gosh. She's so emotional. But let me show you when she wasn't emotional. Slay.
In 2020,
Brilliant.
when she posted on Instagram,
Brilliant.
So excited for our new home. Think Megan was crying when she posted that? To me, it looks like maybe Megan's just moving on with her life. As if Evelyn never even existed. What about here? Also posted in 2020. Keep in mind, Evelyn's still upside down in a trash can because Megan's not told anyone where she is. She's still spinning her lies. Do you think she's sad here when she's picking up furniture for their new house? But she's sad today? She has the gall to sit here and cry today and pretend she can't look at the pictures of what she did to her child? What about this one? Proud of my baby. New 2020 High Country. Was she sad then? What about December? Weeks after Evelyn has been brutally murdered. What is Megan Boswell doing? Does she look, maybe we should zoom in. Does she look sad here? Maybe she is. Sure doesn't look like it. Her kid's upside down in a trash can. And she's going to the aquarium with her new boyfriend. What about here? She doesn't look very sad to me. Hiking in Blowing Rock in 2020. No Evelyn. Evelyn's missing. Still missing at this time. There's Megan hiking with her new boyfriend, moving on with her life. Not crying. Maybe Megan Boswell didn't have an end game. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she hoped that Evelyn would never be found. But she had to know at some point these stories were going to catch up with her. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm asking you today, 5 years later, February 2025, to show Megan Boswell that her stories have caught up with her. The evidence shows the defendant. This person is the only person responsible for her child being dead. You heard it straight from Dr. Malushnik. Evelyn shouldn't be dead. Evelyn should not be dead. I believe the defense brought up SIDS, reflux, rollover. I believe they even brought up a tongue tie as being a possible cause of death for Evelyn. How does that result? Any of those things? You know, he said in the beginning, the state can't even prove how she died. Are you kidding me? How does that end up with a baby in a trash can? The DNA. Let's talk about the DNA for a second. You've got the gloves.
Period. No,
and
let's not talk about the DNA. Let's not talk about. We don't need to talk about the DNA. No one gives a crap about the DNA. All the things, the SIDS, and I said that earlier at the very beginning during opening statements when they said, well, what if it was SIDS? Okay, what if it was SIDS? Why is the baby not in the bed or the crib or on the floor where it was, and the police found the baby where it all happened? Why was no one called? Hello, 911, I have an emergency. Why was it not, oh my gosh, I don't have a cell phone. Let me get into the car and rush this baby to Raylene said the fire department, emergency room, the walk-in, a doctor's office, the police station, anywhere for help. Why is this baby being found months later, wrapped up and literally thrown away? SIDS or not. It's what happened. It's all of the things. And if it's not, even if it is a SIDS situation or the tongue tie, which is absolute garbage, reflux, what have you, if it was some horrible, tragic, random accident that happened, it's the things that happened after, right? But if it's not that, which I believe, it's not a random, horrible, tragic accident, it's a premeditated situation. It's all the things that happen before, during, and after. This is not a whodunit. This is a why, and how much punishment does this person need for doing it?
Somehow wants you to believe that gloves will keep fingerprints from happening. And then I guess whoever did that then took the gloves off, cut them up because they're cut up in small pieces and you can look at them when you get back there, and then dispose of them in the same trash can that the baby's in. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And funny enough, guess what is there? Is DNA that matches Megan Boswell, that matches Evelyn. Go back through the testimony. There's not one piece of DNA, not one, that shows anyone, not Hunter Wood, not anyone else other than Megan Boswell is associated with that trash can, the evidence in the trash bags. And you heard Marla Gray, the DNA expert, talk about the mixture DNA on some pillows that were found in the shed. And you also heard her say that could even be from the person who made them in the factory, or it could be from the person who touched the pillow at Walmart when they were trying to decide if they were going to buy it. It wasn't even enough DNA to test. So don't be led to believe that because of that, there's some unknown stranger who did these things. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence that's in front of you. We have evidence. We have shown you the evidence. Don't think about the speculation. Don't think about the what ifs. Look at the evidence. Some really, really good. If I could, can I see the trash can for just a second, please? Thank you. Whose fingerprints were on the trash can? Do you remember what Agent Hoover said from the TBI yesterday? Where he's removed the rim. He talked about how it's smooth under the rim. If you're going to carry a trash can, how do you pick it up to carry it under the rim? Whose fingerprints were under that rim? Megan Boswell. Megan Boswell's fingerprints were under that rim. If we look at Exhibit 17, can you see the black trash bag there? Whose fingerprints are on that trash bag? Megan Boswell's fingerprints. And you heard Dr. Malushnik say, and I think you can see for yourself, that trash bag's not just gently placed down into the trash can. It has been forcefully, and it's a hard image. It's a very difficult image to think about. But that's the evidence that we've been left with, that black trash bag was placed on top of Evelyn in the white trash bag, and it was forcefully pushed down. Compressed, I think is a word that was used during the trial. And that's how Megan Boswell's fingerprints ended up on that black trash bag.
So disturbing.
Even more
It's
damning
so
than that is the
disturbing.
fact that Megan Boswell's fingerprints are on the foil
Cats.
wrapped around Evelyn's head. I would love to know a different explanation for how Megan Boswell's fingerprints got on that foil, on that trash can, on the black trash bag, except for the fact that she murdered her baby. She put her in that trash can with food trash and debris, covered her body, essentially mummified her, and tossed her away, literally, with the trash. Mr. Scott would like for you to think that the doctor's testimony, just that they shouldn't be able to just decide things in a vacuum. He kept mentioning, well, what if the child's dead on a table? And I think we all know that is not how doctors operate. Doctors operate off of medical histories and any information they can get. And that's what both doctors did in this case. They took everything, her birth records, her pediatric records, the scene itself, before they came to their conclusion. They don't operate in a vacuum. I think those were the words that Dr. Malishnik used, is they do not operate in a vacuum. And they determined what? Both doctors agreed that this was a violent homicide, that Evelyn Boswell died from some sort of asphyxiation. So, suffocation, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. So, if it was not for, say, the position of her body upside down in the trash can, that could have killed her. We'll say it wasn't that. Then maybe it was the blanket that was pulled up over. Remember that? How it was tightly pulled up over her face. That could have been what it was. Or it could have been upside down in the trash can. Could have also been the trash bag that she was placed inside of, where she was unable to breathe. Could have been the foil that was wrapped around her head. Could have been the trash can itself. If you remember, the doctor testified that her face was compressed up against the side of the trash can. And her body was in a reverse S curve, so where her head was so far bent back into a reverse S because of how the defendant compressed her body down into the trash can. Forcefully compressed her body down into the trash can. Her head and neck were wrapped so tightly with foil that even when they removed the foil, you could still see the impression of the foil on her face. You could still see the trash can form still to her face. Quickly, I'm going to ask you to go to your verdict form page.
The horrific reality of what some people are capable of is pure
page 50
traumatizing.
So these verdict forms, I'm going to show you one example. Okay. So you'll see here, this is just for count one, and I'm just giving it as an example. We, the jury, find the defendant and mark the appropriate box. So if you go back in the jury room and you agree as a whole that Megan Boswell is guilty of first-degree murder, you do not need to consider anything below that. Those are what we call lesser included offenses, and we're required by law to put those on the verdict form for you to consider. But if you unanimously agree that Megan Boswell is guilty of first-degree murder, you can check that box and move on. You are not required to go through every single one of those if you believe that she is guilty of what she's charged with in that count. And if you go through these, you will see that each count of the indictment is similar. There are lesser included offenses for each one of these. And again, I will ask you that if you can unanimously agree, you do not need to go any further on that verdict form. The state has to prove several elements for each charge, and those are also in your packet. Count one is premeditated first-degree murder, that the defendant unlawfully killed the victim, that the defendant acted intentionally, and that the killing was premeditated. The next page defines premeditation for you as an act that was done after the exercise of reflection and judgment. It means that the intent to kill must have been formed prior to the act itself. So that means essentially if when Megan Boswell wrapped Evelyn in the blanket and you think, well, maybe she didn't have premeditation then, she could have formed premeditation in the time where she applied the foil, or premeditation in the time that she put her in that trash bag, or premeditation in the time that she pushed the next trash bag on top of her body. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, there's nothing about this case that is not premeditated. Count two and count three are what we call felony murder in the state of Tennessee. That's where we allege that a murder happened during a certain felony. And these felonies are aggravated child abuse and aggravated child neglect. Again, those go hand in hand with premeditated first-degree murder. We submit to you that not only did the defendant abuse the child, but that she neglected the child. And one of the perfect examples is how she left her in the trash can. That's neglect. Leaving her in the trash can, that's abuse. And it resulted in her death, which is felony murder. Then we have to prove that the child was under the age of 8. There are many counts of false report. Page 29, I think is where it starts. And it's counts, I believe, 7 through 17. The state must prove that the statement was made by the defendant, that it was made in response to a legitimate inquiry by law enforcement, and that it concerned a material fact about the incident within the officer's concern. If you remember, the defendant herself admits more than once that what she told the police was not true. So I submit that the state has proven each of those counts. Count 19, abuse of a corpse, page 30. The state must prove that the defendant mistreated a corpse in a manner offensive to the sensibilities of an ordinary person, that she acted without legal privilege and acted knowingly. And I think that count speaks for itself, along with count 20, which is failure to report a death. A lot about this case really has been more about Megan Boswell than about this child, Evelyn. But Evelyn mattered. She deserved to grow up. She deserved that, but her mom took that away from her. And there's no evidence that anyone else was involved. I think you can see this was a pretty good investigation. It was very thorough. And the evidence continued to point in only one direction. The evidence only pointed at one person, Megan Boswell. She failed her daughter. She had the chance to keep her safe, to protect her, to give her to someone else if she couldn't handle her. You heard from the witness saying there were people that she could have given Evelyn to that would have given her a beautiful life. But instead, she violently murdered her daughter. And she told story after story after story for 2.5 months. And maybe the worst part is that she just went on with her life as if Evelyn had never even existed. But Evelyn did exist. Evelyn is a real person. And Megan Boswell should not be able to go on as if Evelyn did not exist. There are things we will never know about what happened. None of us will ever know everything. I think it's fair to say that we do know that Evelyn was in the way. She was in the way of Megan Boswell living the life that she thought she deserved, that she wanted to live. So Megan removed her. It's as simple as that. So today, 5 years later, almost 5 years to the day that Evelyn was reported missing, we are going to ask that you hold Megan Boswell accountable for what she did for her child. I submit to you, the state has proven every count and every element of every count beyond a reasonable doubt. And we are going to ask that you return a verdict guilty.
Thank you, General. Stop. You may close.
Good afternoon. I appreciate your all's time. Appreciate you being here. Although I know you may not be here by your own free will, but I still appreciate it. This is a hard case. There's a lot of emotion in this case. And Amber Massengill is very good at giving an emotional closing and wanting you to play on your emotions. The jury instructions will tell you that this case is not about your emotion. It's not about sympathy. It's not about anything else. It's about proof and what's in the evidence. That's what this case is about. This case is more about what Megan Boswell didn't do than what she did do. Now, I'll go back through the witnesses here with you in a minute. But the state seems to be putting forth the theory that
this case is about how a 13-month-old little tiny baby was found wrapped up in a blanket and tinfoil in a face down opposite S curve. I think is what they said, in a garbage can in a shed. That's what this case is about. It's not about emotion. Just so happens to be extremely emotional. This is gonna make me a little heated, but the defense needs to have their closing argument, and it's going to be, don't let her play to your emotions. She's good at her job. Well, I'm good at my job too.
you should convict her a first-degree murder because she didn't grieve appropriately. She had fun after her child died. Now, is it far-fetched to believe that the child died in the first part of December, like she says? No, that seems to be the point where you see Megan's personality start to change. But I would suggest to you that that change occurs when the child dies. You start to hear various friends come in and they talk. I can name them for you. Let's talk about Casey Saltz. She worked at Megan's pediatrician, and she was also technically would have been Megan's foster sister, I guess. She was the daughter of Megan's foster mother. And she talked about Megan being a good mother. She acknowledged that. She witnessed that. Megan brought her to the doctor. You have an exhibit in the records. It's item 67. It came in through the pediatrician. Read that page for page. It demonstrates that Megan was a good mother, Evelyn. She took her to the doctor for well check. She took her to the doctor when she was sick. She got medicine for her. She did what she should do. And then she misses that appointment in December.
Yeah.
And that's when this starts.
Yeah.
I admit to you, when all of this really starts, the child is dead. Now, we hear from other witnesses. We hear from Paul Miller.
When he says and this is when all of this started, when all of this starts, yes. Yes. This is when she murders her daughter. Yes. Yeah.
That is Ethan Perry's grandfather. He had no reason to believe that she wasn't a good mother. Seemed like she
also this is at 1.35 speed. So this is at 1.3. Imagine how slowly they're talking. To me, it feels way slow how slowly he's talking. At normal speed.
being a mom. Saw no signs of abuse or neglect. We heard from Audrey Gibbs. She'd been with Megan almost every day until she moved to Knoxville in 2019. She describes Megan as a good mom. There were a few things. There was once where she thought her diaper needed to be changed. Once where they neglected to buckle the car seat. But those are mistakes. That's not child neglect. That's not child abuse. Those are mistakes. Audrey talks about Megan.
No, not anymore. Those were mistakes in the 80s. You know, if you didn't buckle your child in the car seat, because there were no car seats. If you didn't put a seatbelt on your kid, if they're sitting in the front seat, they were mistakes in the 70s and the 80s. Not in the 90s, not in the 2000s, not in the 20 teens. Those are not mistakes. The weight put onto the safety of children while in moving vehicles is immense. Those are not mistakes. Those are crimes.
She came to Knoxville into December sometime, and by that point, she's actually disassociated. She's not normal. She's saying "I love you" over and over again to her. So, again, maybe she's not breathing right. Bailey Hawkins stayed at the Econo Lodge with Megan. Megan just went to sleep. Despite Bailey thought they might do things, they might talk or whatever they might do, but she just went to sleep. Again, I would suggest to you she's disassociated. Bailey saw no signs of abuse, no signs of neglect. Mr. Horn questioned her. She described Evelyn as the one consistent love that Megan had. And Megan is a girl who comes from a world of fractured relationships. And Miss Massengill wants to downplay Megan's home life. Matt Price did. There's a video in there. He talks about it. I mean no disrespect, but I know that Boswell family. I'm aware of them. I know how you come up. Your mom and dad using drugs. I mean, you want to talk about home life? Watch the video with Agent Fraley. Her mom was laid in there in stripes, the jail uniform. What kind of home life was that?
A very common one, actually, for a lot of people who are not murderers.
You can make what you want of her testimony. Her body language tells me she's no longer Megan's friend. However, she described, aside from the one day when she saw Evelyn as dirty, Megan had been a good mother. No signs of abuse, no signs of neglect. She said she saw Evelyn sometime in December. She tried to tie it to her school, but she really couldn't give us a specific date. So I think the best you can say is that it's sometime in December. Gail Kite. Let's talk about her. Megan's foster mom. She gets Megan when Megan comes into her foster care. Megan's 7 months pregnant. She's 17 years old. Gail describes her as looking like she's not pregnant, as being underweight. We know from the medical records and the testimony that come in from Dr. Smith, Megan suffered from intrauterine growth restriction at that time. We've heard that. So that's the shape she's in. But Gail talks about how she gets her in good shape. She has the baby. She's a loving mother. She takes care of the baby. Gail never saw abuse, never saw neglect, never had any doubts about Megan. Erica Stacy, and that's the mother of Megan's ex-boyfriend, and I think his name I can't remember his name honestly, but it's the mother of his ex-boyfriend. She described Megan as a good mother. Evelyn was always clean. And I'll point something out to you. Statement you
Look at the judge. Look at the judge. He literally, his body language, he's like, I legitimately want you to stop talking. Look at the judge. Look at him. That's crazy. This might be normal for him, but for me, this is hilarious. This defense attorney is grasping at straws, trying to get as much out of each other as he can that he can. He's trying to squeeze the very last bit. He is trying himself to walk in Megan's circling back shoes, like, oh well, yeah, so she was a great mother, right? So remember when all these people said that she was a great mother? Okay, that does not negate that she also unalived her own child. Like, you can be super good and then one day be super bad.
believe that Megan just meets Hunter Wood and throws this child away for him.
But I don't think it was that way.
I think it's Caleb's.
I think she was bad and then became super, super bad.
Other boyfriends. Now, there's talk about, a lot of talk about Ethan Perry thinking he was the father. Well, the proof you've actually seen is they go about it as Ethan is the father. And there's been no proof that Megan knew that he wasn't the father at that point. I'm not trying to, it just happens that sometimes people may think one person's the father and they're not. But calling him out of anything or anything else. Like, it's not like this didn't start early on that she thought Ethan was the father. She obviously thought a lot of Ethan. She drove to Texas, took Evelyn to see him. Now, he did say one thing that kind of struck me a little odd. He acted as though she just showed up in Texas. I suspect, and he finally admitted on cross-examination, that he told her where he was in Texas. You just don't hop in the car, drive to Texas, and say, I'll drive around El Paso so I see his car in the parking lot, pull in. That's not what happened. I think he kind of wanted you to think that, but that's not what happened. Let's talk about Randy Wood. Randy Wood is the father of Hunter Wood. The state called him. The state is the one who elicited the information about Hunter Wood being hospitalized. That's the first you hear of him being hospitalized. It's the state. Now, Ms. Maxfield wants you to think I have some grand conspiracy theory. I don't. I do have a statement from Megan Boswell when she talks to Agent Fraley about what happened in this case. She says, Hunter was there when Evelyn died. I wrapped her up and I swallowed her. I held her. She kept getting colder as the day went on. I didn't want her to get cold. Hunter took her and he got rid of her. Now, they want you to believe that that's just impossible. Why did Hunter not give his DNA? Ask yourself that. If you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you just let him test your DNA against all the evidence they had? Turns out they could have tested it, probably. But he didn't give them that chance because he had something to hide. Now, his dad said that he was schizophrenic. I asked him, is he schizophrenic and have hallucinations? He agreed with me on that. He also agreed with me when I asked him if he talked about using an aluminum foil or tin foil. And he said, yeah, he talks about some awful lot of stuff. Now, ask yourself, who's more likely to wrap that child in tin foil? The child's mother that has cared for the child, taking care of the child, or the boyfriend who's schizophrenic? And I'm not trying to vilify Hunter Wood. That's not been my intention throughout this trial. But Megan's statement is that one of them rolled over on the bed. The young mother may think that. There could have been other causes. When we get to the causes, I guess we can go ahead and we can talk about Dr. Smith and Dr. Malusian. Now, Dr. Smith asked her about several different things. She's the lady who actually performed the autopsy. And she formed an opinion of homicidal death based on the way the child was in the trash can. But she could not tell you a medical basis for the child's death, other than a diagnosis of exclusion. The diagnosis of exclusion is simply, we don't know what else is wrong with her, but she must have smothered in this trash can. That's what they want, what she said, essentially. Now, I cross-examined her about a lot of things. I asked her about SIDS. And even though the subsequent doctor didn't agree with it, Dr. Malusik, I didn't ask about something that didn't exist. Dr. Smith knew exactly what SIDS was. We talked about it. We talked about the ages, how we don't know what causes it. She answered questions about it. She said, ultimately, she could not rule that out in this case. Just like she could not say with any degree of certainty that the child was placed in the trash can alive and dead. She couldn't say that. She brought up that the child had a heart valve at least. She admitted in the cross-examination that could have been what killed the child. We talked about laryngeal, we talked about laryngeal convulsions. Could that have caused the death of the child? She admitted it could. Now, Ms. Massengill brought up tongue tie. I brought up GERD. I brought up an infection she had, because all of those things can lead to the onset of SIDS. That's the research, and Dr. Schmidt agreed with that. Now, I want to tell you something about Dr. Schmidt and Dr. Malusik. I think Dr. Schmidt she was the medical examiner in Johnson City when this happened. Dr. Malusik is not her boss. She's not. It's not like she's somehow over her. Dr. Schmidt was the chief medical examiner at the Jenkins Autopsy Center, Forensic Center. Subsequently, for whatever reason, the state sent her report to Dr. Malusik for another opinion. Dr. Malusik only reviewed her report, and she finds that it's a good report. But then she wants to go further and find some type of certainty that child was placed in the trash can. And you saw an exchange between me and her in here yesterday. It went on for 4 or 5 questions. And I kept asking her.
No. No, I can't listen to him anymore. I can't listen to him anymore because he's trying to do a good job at throwing weight at the little tiny things to make up for all of the very, 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 very big things. Even in the defense's story, even in their plot, if it is her responsibility to make sure that her child does not end up in a trash can wrapped in tinfoil in a shed in the middle of nowhere. That's her job as a mother. And this is where we, as a majority of humans, draw the line. No. No, I'm not. I can't. Sorry to anyone who wanted to finish that. I just can't. The circling back, the doubling, the quadrupling down on, well, I mean, she said it couldn't rule it out. Okay. No, it's just too much for me. It is just absolutely too much for me. So what we are going to do, it was just going to be more of the same. It was just going to be more of the same. Just going to be more of the same. Let's go to verdict. So something very interesting happened. So the jury, the jury comes back next day. I believe it was next day. Let me double check. Day 7. I believe it was the next day. The jury comes back next day and is like, hey folks, we have a decision. Something interesting in Tennessee happens where the very first reading of the verdict is not streamed. It's like we can visually see it happening. But what we are not seeing, or not, what we're not getting, is audio. So we are picking up to when the audio picks back up.
Judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 2,
okay, so we can hear the audio. We don't get it.
Murder. To judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 2, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of
first degree murder, guilty.
Degree murder and the perpetration of a felony. It's a judgment of this court, you are guilty.
Guilty. And
in count 3,
the suspense has been ruined by the bar that's on the bottom, but she's guilty on all 19 she was originally charged with 20 counts. One of the counts of, I think, lying to filing a false police report or something of that effect was dropped like day 1, so it's now 19 counts of all the way
a
from
jury
murder
of your
to
peers having
false,
found you guilty
violating
of
false
first-degree
police
murder and
reports.
perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court. You are guilty. In count 4, the judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 5,
She dressed
the
up for
jury of your
today.
peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 6, the jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court. You are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you. Court stands in recess.
Show her. Show her, show her, show her. We want to see her. Show her, show her, show her. We're in recess because they're not done. We're in recess because we are not done. We are heading into sentencing. We are not going to listen to the the victim impact statements. We're not going to listen to any of the stuff. Let's see. We are just going to. There was something that I did want to see, though. Oh, as she comes back in. This is what I did want to see. I can't believe she's not cuffed or shackled.
All right. If the jury is ready, we'll bring them in.
I just like to watch as some things happen.
We approached.
Let me just double check I got everything. But I want to.
No, I'm in there. Oh, well, that's.
Everyone stand, please.
I think it was the same day. I think I lied. It was not the next day. It's the same day. They too, just like Sarah Boone, came back with a
Do you have an opening?
I do.
Okay.
fairly quick verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, although I may not agree with your verdict, I respect your verdict and respect you. I think.
Do you have any other proof? And before we bring the jury in, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday was when we excused the alternates, I took the contents of one of their books and the cover page, and I gave that to the court reporter, and that would be designated as Exhibit A, the letter A, to what they.
Sorry, I literally did not timestamp the very last thing that we needed to see, as she is super duper guilty. Technical difficulties. Okay, give me a second. Oh no. That's why I didn't timestamp it, because it didn't exist. Okay, let's see. Okay. I found a not great video. I found a not great video, but it's the only one of the sentencing. Right. Let's watch. We can put that one on. Let me. Okay, just give me one. Hush, 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 hush. Hushity hush. I got it. I'm coming. I got it. Might be a little loud.
The courtroom there will continue to watch and listen back at this point.
All right. Ms. Boswell, in count one, the jury of your peers having set your punishment, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. In count two, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. In count three, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. We'll have to set this for sentencing hearing where we'll deal with merger, other issues, as well as sentencing in counts 4 through 20. Does she waive the 45 days, Mr. Scott?
She does.
So, oh, sorry, that was on 1.5 speed. So the first 3 counts, the jury recommends life in prison, life in prison, life in prison. So that's out of 19 out of 20, whatever. That's the first 3 is a life sentence right there. She will be spending the rest of her life in jail. For the rest of the sentences, they will be doing a sentencing hearing, seeing if talking to each other, both sides, prosecution, defense, gathering a little more information that might be needed or whatnot to kind of come up with an idea of what to sentence for those lesser charges. But any way you cut it, any way you slice it, she will be spending every single rest of her day, every single rest of her life, every single day of the rest of her life. That's what I wanted to say. Every single day of the rest of her life in prison. The jury found her completely guilty, head to toe, that she made the decision to murder her child. Is she going to appeal? Of course she's going to appeal. Of course she's going to appeal. Everyone appeal.
I have a murder trial in Carter County very next month.
It's not good.
Okay, so they're just working on some schedules. Let's see.
For appearing as co-counsel pro bono.
Yes, Your Honor.
The court thanks you for your service.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
The court will be recessed till Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. for the next trial.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, there we see the feed.
Wow. And just like that, I hit the wrong button. And just like that, it's over. Well, not over, but it's done. Just like that, it's done. Which it's the whole, it's all, this sucked. This one was terrible. Did we watch the whole thing? No. Hold on one second. I need to get a thing that's under my desk. Did we watch the whole thing? No. Will I ever watch the whole thing? No. No, I will not go through all of that. I will not go through that. I will not ignore this. This is awful. I'm gonna go back to my studio tomorrow. It's just buckets with my backpack in it. Like, it's so crazy to me how wild that is. I just don't know where to put it. I could never. I would never. I can't even imagine giving birth to a child and then ending that child's life in such a horrific, disturbing way. I don't know why anyone would be okay with that. But this person, Megan Boswell, needs actual help. She needs mental help. She needs a diagnosis. She needs to be assisted. And she does need to stay in prison forever. There are still consequences to your actions. Do I think she was, I don't want to say crazy, because that's, incapacitated enough by some mental health disorder that she wasn't able to withstand trial. Like, she wasn't able to completely understand what was in front of her, what she's done, and what the consequences are. No, she knew what she was doing every single moment of it. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. She knew it was wrong. She knew she was supposed to take care of this child. She knew she had people in her life that cared. She knew all of those things. Yet she still did all of the bad things. She lied over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. She lied constantly. She constantly lied. She thought she was going to get away with it. She thought she was going to get away with it. But she didn't. She didn't get away with it. This jury did not let her get away with anything. They said, prison, go to prison forever. Go to prison forever. Go to prison forever. It doesn't make it any less awful because someone is consequencing because someone is consequencing does not make the loss of Evelyn any less awful. And I'm sad. That's really sad. That's really disappointing. But at least we got some justice today. I just can't believe how many lies she told. Constantly. Just constantly lying. Constantly lying. I can't even imagine if I was to listen to that entire trial, how absolutely frustrating it would be to see all of the friends and loved ones say, we kept asking and we kept getting different answers. We kept asking. We wanted Evelyn. We wanted to see her and play with her and talk to her and be with her because she was super cool and she was adorable and she was fun and she was the child of someone that we cared about. So of course we cared about this child. And like, you just want, babies can be fun too, like babies are super cute and stuff like that. Like, I don't like kids. They're always sticky. Like they always got something sticky on them. So I have a thing with that. But like everyone loves kids. They're still so cute. And to take this kid away from all of the people that loved her was disturbing. All right, I'll see you later. Gotta go. Bye. No, I'm done. That's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Poor Evelyn. I'm glad there's some justice. Do you guys want to do something a little less intense tomorrow? I'll be in my studio. I think I'm just going to go back to the studio. I can't do anything here. This is a nightmare. Yeah. How about we do some like body cam or something? I'll look into it. Okay. Bye. That's it. Gotta go.